attitude? What's the bad side of how it feels to be coached by you?
Ew. Well, apparently I show my strengths a little bit on the field, a little bit too much. That's what I was told.
Welcoming Suzanne Unruh to the show today. Coach Suze, as everyone calls her, is somebody I've long admired. She's been able to sustain success at multiple different schools, and I don't. That doesn't come without being willing to evolve and be humble. And I have just really admired her work over the years. So, Suze, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Rob.
So we're going to get into talking about leadership, coaching the 21st century athletes. And I'm curious, just share with everybody that's listening a little bit about your background and why your opinion should matter on this topic.
I don't know why I even started coaching. 20 years ago, I was just off the field as a college athlete and had the opportunity to start coaching in college. And I think when I did start coaching, I just went off of the fact that, hey, I was good. I'm going to make you guys good. And that's how I started coaching the game, not really thinking of the player or anything about it. I just wanted to make them better. And I think over time, I have realized why I coach. And it took me some ups and downs through my career, but realizing that my purpose really was to be a coach and to mentor and really have strong relationships with players that I coach. And after having that strong with them down the road. And I think that's important. But really just realizing that as a young coach, I was all about winning, and I wanted to take a bad team and I wanted to make them good. And I didn't care how I did it. I just wanted to prove to everybody that I could do it. And then just through time, realizing that God was really nudging my shoulder. You have more of a purpose in this role. And that's kind of what I went through the years.
Cool. Tell me, you had an interim year as a head coach when you were really, really young, right? Share about that a little bit.
Well, right after college, I was asked to coach at Butler, and the head coach...
Butler Community College in El Dorado, Kansas, just in case. Yeah, JUCO.
So I got this opportunity. I was just out of college, still a little, on that cocky mind of I was really good. And this coach sits me down. I take the job, and she's like, well, here's the deal. I'm pregnant and I'm going to have a baby probably at the beginning of the season. So I'll need you to take over a little bit while I'm gone. Don't worry, I'll be right back. And we own it. And down the road, when the baby came, just through some complications and just changing of parts, I think coach kind of realized that it's going to take a longer time for first, and was gone the whole season. So I was a 22-year-old coaching 19, 20-year-old girls. But that's how it all started. And I fell in love with it at that point. For sure.
So I found, especially young coaches, they think they're ready at age 22, 23, 24. And then if they get into it at that age, they're like, oh my goodness, I'm not. If you remember way back then, I mean, what did you learn? What were some of the mistakes you made as a young coach that might have been avoidable?
Oh my gosh. I remember telling them, well, what's funny is I remember telling girls like they weren't good enough. Like I was at a junior college and they wanted to go play Division I. I came from a Division II player myself. And I remember just being at a younger age, I didn't have like that feel of, I'm just going to tell them straight up. And I would tell them, oh, you're not a Division I player, or you're not good enough to play on. And I was just lucky in that way. And I was not lucky, but just confident. So I really didn't know how to have that certain line of I'm a coach, but I'm also 2 years older than you. It was really hard for me to adjust and try to, and I did stay out of that lane, but I remember being young and going, gosh, this is so hard for me to be coaching them, but also knowing that I could be playing with it as a player.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard.
So what came next after that? So you had your head coaching deal at Butler.
I did that for a year and a half. And then in Cowley College, which is in Ark City, Kansas, which is where I started playing college ball. The head coach has been there. He was there for over 20 years, and we were a national, recognized NJCAA team. And he had asked me to come on board and be his pitching coach because that's what he needed. But I had no expertise in pitching. I never pitched in my life. But when I knew he wanted me to come take that opportunity, I remember just asking every pitcher I knew and watching videos and studying pitching as much as I possibly could because I knew I wanted to be good at what Coach Ed was wanting me to do there. So while I was at Cali for those years, I ran all the pitchers and catchers and worked all their workouts and did the recruiting and really did a lot of Ed let me do a lot of things that would get me to be a good head coach someday. He put a lot of opportunities in my hand to go out and recruit and go out and, he believed whoever I thought was good was going to be good for Cali. And he thought my workouts and my hitting drills were going to be good for Cali. And I just think that's where I started thinking, maybe I should be a head coach someday. and then down the road, I'm married to Mike, who was from Newton, Kansas, and realized I want to start a family. And I think I do want to be a head coach and give this thing a try. And an opportunity came at a 4-year private Christian school, which I had never heard of in my life. And I am from Kansas. But he had told me it was close to where he was from. I said, wow, that'd be awesome. We would, live where he grew up and I could start coaching. And when I went to Tabor College, they were the last place team, had 13 girls on the team. And
did they win like less than 10 games the year before you got there? Something crazy. Yeah.
The retention was really bad. A lot of girls were double sport kiddos. And I just remember them saying, hey, good luck. They kind of handed it to me. Like, good luck with this. And I think that also pushed me because I thought, well, it's softball. I think if these girls will love it and we can win really quick here, it wasn't going to be that hard.
Well, that's certainly where I became aware of you because I was at another school at the time and our softball coach just kept talking about how good you were. So I'm curious your take when we kind of get into the leading side of coaching. You coached the 2-year level, some younger kids, and then the 4-year level. How were those student athletes the same and how were they different between the different levels?
Between the different levels, I think when I first started, back in the early 2000s, the junior college girls had more of an intent to go to a junior college and then play on, and they had that drive. And then I think when I was at the 4-year more private liberal arts small college, it was, I want to go to Tabor College, I want to study this, and then I want to play softball. I think it was just a different different athlete, I guess. I was getting girls that were more, I want to go to Tabor because of the academics and because of the location and the Christian values more than I just want to play softball and be the best player ever. So that was a big difference, I thought. I mean,
So do you think people are people, whether you're at the 2-year or the 4-year, in terms of how you lead them basic needs, or was there a different approach? Because like back when I was coaching now I'm dating myself here, it was a while ago. But there was a perspective of you had to be a lot harder on kids at the 2-year level, run them into the ground, all that kind of stuff. And that may not be as needed at the 4-year level. That was a stereotype. I'm not saying it's right. I'm curious if softball was the same.
Well, I think I was harder on them in the junior college, but I don't think it was because they were at a junior college. I think it was just the time of our game. Back then, I mean, it tells us girls wanted to go to Cali to play softball, let's go be transferred on Saturday. And we did do that well. We got them to go to the next level. Back, what was that, 20 years ago? You could coach them the way I was coached. I was that hard coach and, like I said, being blunt and right straightforward with them. Whereas over time in coaching at the 4-year and just within the last 10 years of coaching, it's just different. I have a couple reasons why I think it's different, but I think you learn obviously through through your time as a coach, where and what really matters for the athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good segue to one of the questions I wanted to ask today of people always talk about, I'm doing air quotes right now, this generation and how they just don't get it. I'm pretty convinced though that like my parents said that about my generation, my grandparents said it about my parents. So it's an age old discussion. I think it's accelerating because of social media and different things. But take coaching 10 years ago to now. How do you lead differently just based on how your student athletes are?
Right. I mean, coaching has exploded tremendously just in 10 years. So the exposure and the pressure to be, really good ball players is a big deal now than maybe it was when I played. But I do think this weird thought of mine I've noticed, and just coaching that kid now versus maybe 10 years ago. When we recruited, early on, we were recruiting high school athletes out of high school, talking to their high school coach, going to watch their volleyball game, maybe going to their basketball game. And that's how you kind of built that relationship with that kid. And then when they played travel ball, travel ball then was just, around here playing in the summer. They were on a team and they were on a team for a long time and they went there to be the best in the state or win your high school state title. And I think now when I recruit, once they hit about a 16 or their sophomore junior year, all they want to do is play in front of coaches and play at showcases and play wherever they can be to where college coaches are going to watch them. So then winning, that competitive piece, I think has flipped a little to where when I get players in every year in the fall of younger kids, you almost have to really teach them again, like why winning is important as a team and what we can do together to win, because it's not a showcase anymore. We have to build them back into the team piece. That's just something I noticed over the last few years.
Yeah, we surveyed all our athletes. So all our athletes go through the weight room. So we did a survey there and had them rate the things they really love about being a student athlete and what things they don't. And one of the top answers was they love competing. And I think they're supposed to say that. I'm not sure if they love it based on the context they're coming out of, because all these, most of the sports you're talking about, we have here are similar to that. It's the showcase world. You're there to get seen and recruited. And then you get here and it's time to compete and earn a spot. And that can be scary, I think. And what do you kind of give me your thoughts on that?
But it's different for them.
Yeah.
Because everybody's good in college. And I think they've been told wrong that you're going to get recruited and you're going to be a great ball player in college. And then when they get to college and they see 6 other athletes just as good or better, we need to work hard in the off season right to get here to really install the importance of playing and working hard to get that position and having someone. You're coming in as a freshman and you might have a senior pitcher above you. I want those older girls to just take those young kids and just lead them the right way through our program. I think that.
Yeah, because I think there's such value in learning to be part of a team and learning to be part of a team when you don't have the exact role you want. That might be the most valuable transferable skill they could get out of the experience, but it's also really challenging because I think you're right on the external pressures where they've done the club thing. Their parents, their club coach is so invested. It's pretty scary to call home and say, yeah, I got beat out. And I think that's the hardest part I think it's hard to be a coach, but I think that's probably one of the harder parts of it now. So that's a long lead into asking you, talk about leading that kid. How do you build value into their experience?
It is an experience for them. I think with my monthly roster, it's a large one. And over the years, it's so important for me to take those bottom 10 girls on my team and make sure they feel appreciated, make sure they feel a part of the team, and that they have a real job for the team that's making our team better. And to always remind them, and if it's not me, and it could be an assistant or my graduate assistant, just always making sure everybody, even the top kids, they have their roles. Theirs are just a little easier to find. But my younger kids that might have gotten beat out, man, to just keep them motivated and to just keep loving on them, knowing that you're a big deal and you're one of the reasons why we're successful. Yeah, that's important to me. It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. You said loving on them. What does that mean? Give me some examples.
Loving on them, just knowing them off the field, I think is what I've learned in the last probably 5 years since I've been here, how important taking them off of the field and getting to know them personally and how their family, how they grew up, just learning about them as a real person, as a human being. I mean, I know when I started coaching, I didn't really get to know them ever. If I really think about it, I didn't know them. I just recruited them because they were good and I knew we could win really quick. And I think now they really need, I feel like they really need to know that I know how they're feeling. I know how they want to be coached. I know how not to coach them. And I still mess up a lot, but I still think it's important that they know I know.
Why do you think that is? Because I was the same way probably I wanted coaches to coach me a certain way, but I gave them the benefit of the doubt when I was playing. I think that's changed where I had to adapt to them. I think there's a piece of an expectation of individualized coaching, if that's the way to say it. I think that's okay.
I do too.
But why do you think that's evolved?
Oh, no.
And I went off script on that one, so I apologize.
No, I think emotions are so much more out there, and I think feelings are more told. I think mental health, in especially females, I know males too, but in my experience, I think they are so more outpouring of how they feel and where they're at mentally. And just the emotional side of their lives and their game and how, maybe they don't want to be yelled at and maybe they do need to push harder. I mean, it's different ways of coaching kids. But I do think over the last few years, being told that you're appreciated and that we are so glad you're on our team and you have a really strong purpose for this program and for just being a friend and your life has a purpose. I think those are big pieces that we've made sure to tell our players.
Well said.
Yeah.
No, I think there's an identity piece to it all too. You take softball or baseball. You're sacrificing, wrongly in my opinion, 6 months in weekends a year, traveling around, playing games, and you're getting told, not explicitly probably, but your value's that. Mm-hmm. So when they get to college, they may not get the role they want and everybody's good. If there's not a foundational relationship there, I think the coach-player relationship can really get broken pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think they'll find something else. They'll move on, quit the game, because it's easy just to I don't love the game anymore. But, that's kind of what you hear a lot. But I haven't really gotten that as much lately, I think it is because we have really changed their identity and knowing God has a purpose for you. It might not be our best player. It might not be our number one pitcher, but there is a reason you're here. And I really just installing faith is a huge piece to why I coach too. Because I always tell them, after softball, we don't go pro too much. Now pro softball is starting to grow, but it's still really hard to get into. And you're not going to get into it after your 4 years of college. So, it's important for them to know life lessons and to know how important what we're doing now will help you in the future.
Yeah, because it's really, my identity is being a star athlete. It's a pretty dumb identity.
Yeah.
And pretty fleeting. It's not going to last.
You're a lot. And I hear about it when they leave. That first semester, they're done with the sport. They don't know what to do. And so, again, that's why I made that relationship that I built with them while they were on my team, coming to me after they're done and telling me this. I can mentor that piece. I could encourage them to go, be successful in the job world and do all of those things. Be a good wife, be a good things like that.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to shift a little bit. One last question, 2-part. So I want to know how it feels to be coached by you, but I want to know how you hope it feels to be coached by you when you're in a good space. And also when you're struggling or you're in a bad mood, what's the bad side of how it feels to be coached by you?
Ew. Well, apparently I show my stress a little bit on the field a little bit too much. That's what I was told. And never did I realize what my facial expression or how I sit on that bucket. If they're looking at me, if I show stress, my players feel it. And I was like, no way. But really, yeah. So I think I've learned to, that's the bad side of me. When I'm upset or things aren't going our way in a game, they're all looking at me. And if I am showing 1 inch of, oh my gosh, that scared or that stress of, what are we going to do next? They feel that so much now. I know. That's crazy. But I think what did you say? How am I when I'm in a good?
Like, what does it feel to be coached by you? But I think everybody, I ask it that way because everybody has the dark side to them. And I think that's important for all of us to be aware of how we could be received. But how do you want it to feel to be coached by you?
Well, like I kind of said, I want them to know that we're going to be competitive as we can. We want to build a really top-notch college softball program, but we're going to do it in a way where they know they're special and they're loved. And I've already said that, but I do think that's a big piece. And to have a relationship with them off the field and know what their life is off the field, obviously. But I think just knowing, I think by knowing that, they trust me more. I feel that relationship builds, and then when I'm not coaching, there's a better trust there.
Mm-hmm.
And I've really noticed that. And I want my players to know that. And then I want them to know too that I'm going to be there after their years. We're going to be friends forever. And I didn't know that right away.
Mm-hmm.
I think they didn't have the best experience, but the coolest thing I think is being a coach is, like today, I'm going to lunch with a former player of mine that I haven't seen in 5 years. I've gone to weddings of players that I coached 15 years ago, baby showers of all kinds of players, or they'll come to my game to show me their baby. And I think, man, I just look up, I'm like, that is the coolest feeling because they want me to be a part of their life after I coach them.
Yeah, I feel like you have a lot of alums that show up at games that linger just so they can talk and hang out afterwards.
Love that. It's my favorite.
Yeah, cool. All right, we're going to wrap up with a rapid fire round, a quick answer. So you can't, no answer longer than 30 seconds. Okay, ready?
Yep.
What's one thing we haven't covered that we should have on this topic?
Okay. Give me one more specific.
Leadership, coaching the 21st century athlete.
I don't know. Well, that's tough. What did we not cover?
We had this question ahead of time. All right, I'll move on to the next one. What is one book that has greatly influenced your life?
Okay. I do love reading books that college coaches or professional coaches write. The Tony Dungy books and the Pat Summits and John Wooden's. Those are I love those books. But I don't have a favorite. But I do love reading in the summer. To get me really motivated for the next year, I have to read a book that a college coach wrote.
How has a failure set you up for later success?
Well, I think in 2013, I can remember it vividly, but it was the 1 year of my full-time coaching in the KCAC that I didn't make the playoff. And I know that's because I failed as a coach. And I learned so much over that summer. And I just think I have never gone back to that place, that person that I was. Can we go detail on that one?
I have a follow-up question to that. I see a lot of coaches quit after that first big failure. They can't get over it. What kept you staying with it?
Man, I would have, honestly, because I messed up. I was letting players play that shouldn't have, like coaching the wrong thing. It was a mess. And it showed because we didn't even make the playoff. I would have quit, but I had a mentor at Tabor, and she was a female coach. I've coached forever, and she got me out of it. And I really, and my family, but I was so done. I'm like, what am I doing? And then a female coach that had been in my spot and in my shoes, she got me out of that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the power of mentorship, huh?
Yeah.
How do you define success in your work?
Well, I kind of already told you about that. Just having my players that play for me reach out to me and tell me how they're doing after college after I coached them for 4 years. I think that's my success. I mean, I love obviously winning, I'm in, but my success comes from holding their kid after I coached them 10 years ago. For them wanting to show me what they're up to now is huge for me.
Very cool. Last question. What's one coach you admire and why?
Well, this is going to sound cliche because everybody loves Patty Gasso. But I met her before. She has been my favorite.
In case the softball fans not listening, Patty Gasso is the Oklahoma University head coach, has won Lord knows how many national championships, won over 50 straight games in 2023. So go on. Why do you admire Patty Gasso?
I mean, she got like we said, a state university, but she uses faith in her program and to show these girls, their purpose and why God has given them the gift of the game. And that's why I love her so much. I think it turned her whole program around 10 years ago.
Yeah, when we were talking before we came on, we're both kind of admirers of her, of how much she has seemed to evolve over time. Because you don't have that much sustained success like you've had or she's had without doing a lot of looking in the mirror and changing as you need.
Oh, yes. So that's a big one.
Cool.
Big one.
Well, Suze, thank you so much for the conversation. Learned a lot from you. Any final thoughts?
No. I mean, I love this. I hope millions of people out there are listening right now.
Cool. Well, thank you. And look forward to chatting on this topic again sometime soon.
Do it. Yeah.
Cool. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Beyond Coaching. We hope today's discussion provided you with insights into understanding and leading. As always, thank you to the 3D Institute and Friends University for their support and passion for empowering leaders. And if you have any questions for today's guest or myself, all our contact information is in the show notes. Thanks for tuning in.